Recording in progress.
Thanks, wow. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have a shared vision in the Fern Ridge School District, provide excellence for every student so that each will reach their greatest potential. We are always happy to have parents and other community members at our meetings. Thank you to the members of the public who have joined us. As a reminder, school board meetings and work sessions are meetings of the board held in public, providing an opportunity to observe the board's discussions and actions. In an effort to conduct official board business, we ask that the audience be respectful and refrain from questions, comments, and unnecessary noise while the board conducts the meeting. There is an opportunity for citizen comment tonight, and the board looks forward to hearing from those who signed up. I will share some reminders when we get to that portion of the meeting. Also, please note that all board meetings are live streamed and posted on the school board area of the district website. First off, will you please, first we'll start off with the citizenship award.
Citizenship award. From Elmira High School, Miss Van Dakar was at a professional development, so she is sadly, I wanted me to share that she was disappointed she couldn't be here. But our student, our citizen of the month, like I mentioned, is from EHS. Her name is Lillian Olszewski. Stand up there, Miss Lillian. Staff at Elmira note that Lillian never hesitates to help other students in need. Not only is she an active participant in many clubs throughout the school, but she also supports other activities at EHS that she is not officially involved in. She is a high achiever in academics and voted by her volleyball team to be team captain. Simply put, Lillian gives 100% inside and outside of the classroom and is an all-around amazing human being. Congratulations to Lillian Olszewski, our citizen of the month.
You can just come out here and wherever you'd like to stand. It doesn't matter.
That's right. Here.
I don't want a photo bomb you. All right, if you'd all rise for the pledge of allegiance that Lillian will lead us in, please. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation. Thank you. And if you don't want to stay for the entire meeting, that's totally up to you. Some people do, some people don't, most people don't. So that's your choice. No, definitely not. All right, next up is our student representative. We do have one tonight, it looks like, Gavin. And so we're going to do the board or the representative to the board oath of office, and you have it there in front of you. That's the paper. If you'd stand, raise your right hand, and then just go ahead and read from there. And put your name. Yeah, read the paper. Put your name in there where it has the blank. Wait, is this our other representative? All right, coming over here, Tristan. Hold on a second. We'll have you both do it at the same time. We're just doing the oath of office for both of you, since you're a representative on the board. It's a piece of paper right there. You raise your right hand and then read it and put your name where the blank is. Okay, so ready? Are you ready? Go for it.
I, Gavin Snell, will support the Constitution of the law of the United States and the state of Oregon and the laws thereof, the policies of the Fern Ridge School District, and will discharge the duties of student representative to the Fern Ridge School District.
That's my building.
Great, thank you. That's perfect. Good job. Congratulations. And thanks for being here tonight. All right, we'll move into the public comment portion of the program. The Fern Ridge School District Board encourages public input. A person wanting to provide public comment will need to complete and submit an intent to speak form to the board secretary by 1 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. Public comment is limited to this place on the agenda and not to exceed a total of 30 minutes for all commenters. A person giving public comment is limited to an established time limit of 3 minutes. While speakers may, during public comment meetings, offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, the board will not hear personal complaints concerning district personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. Please state your name and address. If speaking for an organization, state the name of the organization. The board reserves the right to refer to the matter to the administration. And so we do have one person who signed up, Ms. Caldwell. And so you get that time and only you get that time. No one else can take that time because they haven't signed up. So you only get 3 minutes.
Hello, everybody. I am horrified at what ODE is putting forward to our children. And I'm even more horrified that I'm the only person that seems to want to say anything in this district. I have spoke, I have said my piece, and I know that everyone here doesn't agree with me, but I would like to know here who's representing me. Because it is your job to represent me and my children. It is your job to give them an education, it's your job to keep them safe. Some things I was told today, I've tried to do my research on everything, and I tried really hard to see things from all sides. We've come to a point where we're trying to have such an open mind, our brains are falling out. We're putting tampons in K through second grade bathrooms. Statistically tell me what second graders have a period. If they do, that child needs to be seen by a doctor. That child needs to be told how to do it. But we'd rather take our money and put tampon dispensers and tampons in boys' K through second grade bathrooms than work on the fact that our kids can't read. It's astounding to me that ODE is saying this is a good idea. And I understand that it's not just our district, but when are we gonna start fighting back for things like that? When are we gonna start saying, let's keep all kids safe in the bathroom? What I was told today is if my daughter was in the dressing room and a child that identified as a girl but was not came in the dressing room and my kid felt uncomfortable, she would have to leave and go somewhere else. That's what I was told, because if not, that other child can sue the school district. That's troubling to me. I'm not saying that other kids should be shamed. I'm not saying that kids should be treated poorly, but let's keep all of our children safe. We have a book that's being read in the freshman class that parents have complained about, that the teacher has admittedly said, we cannot read this book to its entirety because it's inappropriate for the kids to read. But the teacher's reading it again, even though it's known that it can't be read. And there's 5 kids sitting in a library, not getting an education for 3 weeks. What are we gonna do about that? It's not time that we just follow this mass and say, well, ODE told us to. That's what I always hear, ODE told us to. ODE is requiring us, ODE is recommending it. At what point do we say, this does not have common sense? Make it make sense to us. For you to look at me and say, I can't offer my time to somebody else, Mr. Warren, you're bullying me. You have more of an agenda to stop people from speaking and stop people to talking to you than to listen to us. We're not against you. We want to do what's best for the district, for all the kids. When we say this, I don't want a child to not feel uncomfortable in school, but let's keep them all safe. Let's give them all a safe place to change, to go to the bathroom, to do these things. If this bathroom is this much of an issue, let's get some money and fix those bathrooms. If there's a book that can't be read, let's say, well, let's read something that talks about those issues, but maybe something that's appropriate to read to our kids.
Thank you, your time is up.
Start representing us. Start doing what has common sense.
Thank you.
And when's the school board meeting? Because this is the only conversation you have.
Thank you, your
And I
time
have
is up.
yet to hear a lot of conversation with you guys of what are we gonna do to really start changing things? And I wanna hear that.
Thank you, your
I
time is
wanna
up.
know how we can be part of it.
Ms. Caldwell, your time is up.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Approval of minutes. Last month's minutes. Any questions or corrections that anyone noticed?
I move that we approve the minutes from September 18th as written.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 18th. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we have a presentation for the enrollment report and the general fund revenue.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. All right, this is our enrollment report as of October 1st. We are at 1,309 students district-wide, and we have 23 students in out-of-district placements. We're down 37 from the budgeted number. This time last year, we were at 1,359, so we're down 50 from this time last year as well. Most of that is at the elementary level. From this time last year, we're down 26 at elementary, 6 at the middle school, and 18 at the high school. That's all I have on the enrollment, unless the board has any questions regarding that report.
Doesn't sound, it doesn't sound like it. Thank you.
Yep. And this is our general fund revenue and expense report as of September 30th. We've received 27% of our budgeted revenue. Last year we were at 25%, so very similar. We've spent 13% of our operating expenditures. Last year we were at 12%. We had our first large payroll cycle in September. I'm still working on those numbers to see how they were as far as what we budgeted. I think it's very likely I'll need to do a supplemental budget at some point this year, just because we had a lot of negotiations finalized after the budget was prepared and adopted. So just a heads up on that. But that is all I have on that, unless anyone has questions on that.
All right, we do require board action to approve the general fund revenue and expenditures.
I move to approve the general fund expenditures.
We have a motion and a second to approve the general fund, motion to approve the general fund expenditures. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We have a budget calendar. Proposed budget calendar for 24-25. All right.
Yes. So this is the proposed budget calendar. It's very similar to years past. I kept the meetings on Tuesdays, except for that final meeting, which of course is a board meeting. So that's on Monday. I did take a look at the district calendar. I did not see any conflicts, but definitely if everybody could take a look, you know, and this actually is supposed to say proposed. I just noticed that, not adopted. I think you guys actually adopt it next month. Is that correct, Michelle?
I think they can do a first reading and adoption this month.
Okay, as long as there's no. So yeah, I did not see any conflicts. But you know, and if at some point we need to if something comes up and we need to make an adjustment for the date, I can redraft this and we can go through the process again of readopting.
Also early enough that the high school can make awards night on a different night.
Yeah, hopefully there's no conflict there.
All right, any comments on that or?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you scroll up a little bit, Michelle, please? So it says today we should be appointing budget committee members. What's that process look like? Who's doing that?
So they're appointed.
Typically, board members should be on that.
Yeah, so that really doesn't come into play this year because we don't have any open positions. They're already all appointed. But generally we have 1 or 2 open positions. And at that time, You would have received their application already and we would be appointing them. So that's just a standard plug-in on the calendar that if we needed to, we would be doing that at this meeting.
10 people on the committee, 5 school board members, 5 community members. Like Lana said, the 5 community members, sometimes somebody quits or drops out, or their term's up, they're all on board again, so we're not going to adopt any or appoint any of them. The same 5 from last year plus our 5 board members make up the committee of 10.
Thank you, guys.
So if everyone's comfortable, we can do a motion to approve it tonight.
Yes.
I move that we accept the fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget calendar.
No,
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposed 24-25 budget calendar. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on. Student board representatives. Do you have anything for us tonight? Gavin, would you like to go first, Gavin? Great, perfect, thank you.
What? Yeah. So EHS kicked off the homecoming this week with our crowning of our court this morning. We also enjoyed our Spirit Day of Two Tried Monday. Students and staff really enjoyed that. So that's good. Tomorrow we have our Neon Construction Day. Let's see a lot of participation from the students and staff on that one. Wednesday we have our Pink for Saint Day. Hopefully that day we'll see Miss Saint come in the school and we'll just take a big picture of her in the gym during our homeroom. Really nice to see that her there. Thursday we have Falcon Madness Day, going all out Falcon colors, you know, everything. We have no school Friday. Doesn't mean that the stuff ends. We have that homecoming parade. It kicks off 4 p.m. Takes a standard route it takes the last few years. We have the football game that night. It'll begin at 7 p.m. That's also their senior night. So come out to support the Falcons. The homecoming king and queen coronation will be at halftime. Fall sports. The fall sports are coming to an end here. We have 3 senior nights this coming week. This Thursday we have soccer, girls soccer and volleyball. They are at 6:30. All senior night stuff will happen before the game. So right, you know, if you want to come 15 or 20 minutes before the game to see all that happen, and then the game back from there. Football has theirs, of course, that Friday, about 15, 20 minutes early, maybe even a little early. There's about 11 seniors on the football team. Also, the volleyball is having a pink out for breast cancer awareness this Tuesday at 6:30. So come out, your pink. And those are most of the last home games that we have this week. The EHS journalism class kicking off this year, covering all fall sports and community events and many more, including stories on EHS new principal Cindy Vandekar and seniors painting the rock and many more. You can check out the website at ehsfalconnews.org. The EHS coffee cart is back this year. We had it last year. Serving students and staff before school and at lunch. We had a grand opening today. Went really well. All the kids enjoyed that. They have coffee, lattes, mochas, lemonades, blended drinks, all types of good things. EHS has a few new classes this year. We welcomed in one of our theater production class ran by Mr. McMendon. That's a really good class. You know, she did that in college and high school, and she's now bringing it here to the high school for us. But we're learning the process of acting, blocking, putting on production, the production side of it, the lighting, all that. We're going to look to have 4 productions at the end of our semester here and put those on the EHS theater. We have a new financial algebra class that Ms. Hunt's teaching this year, teaching them the financial side of algebra. So not everyone can learn algebra itself the West. So this is more of a financial way of learning that. Still get your algebra credit for it. It still gets that. They have that. Dr. Harper is teaching a human body system class. This is like a college level course that kids are taking this year, learning about the human body system, which is really good for kids that want to go to that medical field and get that college course. Mr. Owen is teaching a mythology class this year, learning about all mythology things related to that. Mr. Owen is also teaching a criminology class second semester, learning about the study of criminals and the way that criminals' minds all that works. That's all we have. Do you have anything else?
All right, well, thank you. That's a great report. Appreciate that. All right. Moving on, we have the association update for you.
Yeah, just stole my thunder on some of the. Good job with all of that, Gavin. I was like crossing. So first off, on behalf of Priya, I just want to recognize a couple of school board members. Lisa, we have noticed you visiting all the different schools, and I think you coming into the classrooms and seeing the students, meeting with teachers and just seeing your face there. Mark, I also want to thank you. You've been at open house. I've seen you at tons of sporting events without even having kids, grandkids in the district. And I just want to thank you both on the behalf of the association for supporting our students and teachers. The second thing I just wanted to bring up is I appreciate the constant communication between Gary and the rest of the district office in terms of quickly responding to emails, questions, concerns, thoughts that we have. And I know I always try to respond within like 24 hours to parents, guardians, students, and so I've appreciated the same with them. And the only upcoming events, since Gavin said so many of them, which was awesome, is conferences for middle school and high school are this Thursday from 4 to 8 in the cafeteria, amongst all the soccer and volleyball senior nights. And then 8 to 12, we're in our classrooms this Friday when there's a middle school day. So we hope to see a lot of parents and guardians at parent-teacher conferences. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Marshall, you have an update?
Sure. Share a couple highlights of professional development that's happening. We had a team of 9 administrators, special ed, title, and myself went up to Wilsonville and did a recorded cadre 7 of the organ response to intervention and instruction. So we got a $10,000 grant from the state to support that. And pretty much this whole year, this team is going to work together to look at the district level implementation. So really good stuff, goes hand in hand with our new ELA adoption. Our integrated plan, which is that 6 ODE initiatives aligned into one plan budget. Those first quarter reports are coming up at the end of this month. We're taking a small team to Laney SC tomorrow for an ODE presentation. And we're going to focus a lot on the progress markers, which there were 12 different progress markers to kind of like gauge your implementation of success. And the first 4 have to do with community engagement, use of equity tools, data teams, K-12, and then an inventory of literacy, which again goes hand in hand with the Oregon RTI, the ELA adoption. And then the next thing that I was going to share was the Early Literacy Success Initiative, which I've shared a little bit about, but House Bill 3198, it's essentially these new funding dollars that are a focus on K2 reading and extra support. So it's new money for K2 reading. Our updated integrated planning tool, which is not our integrated plan, just the same language, is on the website. It's kind of our SR3 where we're at with that. So we have about, after kind of updating the budget last year and trying to get all of the like summer school costs, last minute things that go through September, we have roughly $600,000 left that are unbudgeted. And some of that goes towards, we're looking for big facility type projects that we can do and get tackled. And then next month, I'm hoping to do an annual report for SIA. I don't know, it doesn't open until November 1st. So regardless, I'll do something. I don't know how far in it I'll be. And then hopefully also November, ODE is telling us that we'll have the grant agreement for you guys to approve for an integrated plan. Another thing I wanted to share was that not every administrator, but a pretty big administrative team is going to do a standard response protocol training next week. And that is how we respond to lockdown drills and reunification and threats. So I think that'll be really good. And then we have some teachers, different K-12 teachers going to a science workshop as well. So lots happening. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah.
So you were referring to the ESSER money, and that is what we have 6,000 balance left.
600,000.
600, thank you. And then what did you say that that's going towards?
Well, we don't know yet. Well, if it goes towards something that's more than $5,000, it's a capital improvement. You guys have to approve it. And if it's going towards something that's 25,000 or more, like let's say Chromebook lab, then you have to approve it. So what we have is we kind of have a list of needs. We're just waiting to see where those costs come in. Different things cost different amounts. So we have all of the pre-approved ones from a couple months ago. We haven't done all of those. We've submitted maybe 3, like auto scrubbers, carpet installation, roof and siding at Benita, things like that. So we're kind of just sitting as things get finished up, see where we're at. So a couple different things we've talked about is AV upgrades, like for the high school theater, and HVAC. We have balancing over here that we got a estimate of $100,000, and these intercom and phone issues $100,000. So just waiting on bids, estimates, RFPs, things like that.
So sorry, the $600,000, is that inclusive of what has been approved by ODE, or is that after all those funds?
Yeah, no, that's leftover. So like what we had to do was a couple of years ago, we had to make a 3-year plan. So that year one, which was 2 years ago, we still had ESSER $2. So we didn't have to use $60,000 for whatever we said. And then so it just pushes farther. So now it's just, this is what's left.
Okay.
So.
And this you have until September
30th of 24.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and it has to be like the project, if let's say we're doing a capital project, it has to be done. Like it can't just be spent. The project has to be completed. So that makes it a little bit stressful because everything takes forever.
So that was gonna be my next question. Do you feel confident in being able to get those things done?
Yeah, I'd say we'll have to have a pretty solid plan here in the next few months. So we're able to, we're able to do big projects like carpet replacement over spring break or summer break or winter break, but you can only do many of those. And, you never know what kind of hiccups will come into play, like the intercom at the high school. We thought it was all ready to go, and then there's like, oh, we got to do this, and this. So the projects can keep going longer than we expect. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to get the end of it back.
If it comes up, there's problems and we didn't get some spent, we can ask for an extension. So there is no threat of didn't get it done. We ended up giving back $200,000. So our goal is to spend it all. If something happens and we don't, we'll definitely ask for an extension.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Carpenter, Superintendent's report.
There's 2 things to touch on before we get to the Division 22 stuff. We finished the contract with OSBA, Kristen Miles, who will be doing the West Lane Charter renewal recommendation. So she'll lead that process. She'll come down, talk to them, visit their school, go over their audits, probably talk to district staff. The plan will be part of the process is a hearing. That'll be part of the December school board meeting. And then in January, you will have had all the information from Kristen. I've imagine she'll do some presentation in January. That's when you'll decide renew or not renew. If it's renew, then I'll need to start working on them with them on any contract language adjustments, et cetera, get that in place. If it's not renewed, then we have a whole different path. But just wanted to confirm with you, they're on board, contract signed. She's communicated with West Lane Charter and us. December, there'll be a hearing in January. That'll be a topic again for you to decide. The only other thing I wanted to mention, we briefly touched on it last time, exit interviews. At last week's admin meeting, brought that up, made some final tweaks to the questions. We have our survey made, I would imagine by next week. I met with Michelle this morning, decided how we're gonna do it within Google Docs and how we'll do that for people that have already left, who then don't have access to our Google Doc. Anyway, we have a plan. I think it will be implemented by next week. So that's all I have.
Great. Division 22 standards.
Division 22. So this is an annual thing. We have 2 reports to share. Remember, we do these. There's throwing a shot in the dark here. There's like 56 of them. All right, that's a Division 22 standard, and they're on the previous year. So that's why it says 22, 23. Over the summer, August, September, I need to be reviewing all these and making sure we were in full compliance the prior school year, and then reporting to ODE that we were in full compliance with all these. If we were not in full compliance with one, like last year, we were not with an updated 3-year asbestos plan, then I need to write a plan. This is how we're going to get in compliance. And they give us a year. If we don't get in compliance within a year, let's say we just picked one of these and said, you know what, we're not gonna do that one, we don't like that one. Then they would, they'd give us a year to fix it, and then they'd start withholding funds. So this is our report that we're in compliance. I went through all of them over the last couple of months. You can see when I submit this, there's sometimes where I'll refer them to the district link on our webpage that addresses the report or whatever. So this document will be posted on our website. It's under district and state reports. On the left-hand side, we list all our Division 22 documents such as this. So that will be a spot for you to look for it. I'll probably get it up there tomorrow. So then the second piece is just kind of walk through what this is and stuff that I've already talked about. So I'll go quick. Make it so we can. There we go. What are they? They're OARs, the rules. They're set by the Oregon legislature, right? Legislators vote on what these items are, or the state school board is determined to determine must be met in order to be a standard school district. So, you know, the ODE is what gives us an authority to issue a diploma. So without their support and signing off that we're compliant, then they say your diploma from Elmira High School is no good. That's why it's important that we stay compliant with all these things. Compliance, let's see, there's the different areas, a bunch of them. Teaching and learning, what falls under it, health and safety, performance accountability, human resources staffing, continues on there. Again, I won't go through them all, but there's some of the topics within each one. Let's see, you can check out some of these links, but specifically you can click on it, it'll take you right to the OAR, so I can read through it and make sure, yep, this is something that we do. We are on track. Scroll down. Just notice there this kind of timeline. We report to the school board by November 1st, make it available on the website by November 1st. I need to submit this to ODE, that first document I showed you, by November 15th. They review it and send me a letter that says, great, you're in compliance, good to go, or hey, we noted you were out of compliance in this one area, we like your plan, implement the plan, kind of deal. Some of the reasons why we did this, it makes sure that it's the floor, right? It's the minimum standard of schools that schools are expected to adhere to. There it goes through what if they're out of compliance. Let's see what this says. Let's go back up and read that. ODE reviews the district's proposed corrective action, either approves it or rejects it. If the plan is not approved as submitted, ODE would reach out and say, hey, we don't like your plan. Once we have an approved plan, they'll help us if we need. Like I mentioned, you have to have it done by the next school year. If the district fails to come back into compliance after an opportunity for corrective action, ODE may withhold a portion of the district's state school fund monies. That's why it's important that we are in compliance with all of their Division 22 standards. Okay, scroll down. Let's see. Two things to note. Remember a few years ago, the essential skill requirement was waived. I expect it to come back soon. The PE requirement was changed for middle school, reduced, and this data collection is no longer required. There were a couple new rules in 22-23, voluntary organization one, which we have in place, and operational plans, which we also have in place. Again, I'm reporting we're in compliance with all standards for the next school year. A reminder, just I put on here that, you know, we did have our asbestos management plan. Our corrective action was implemented, and around January of 2023, reported compliance with ODE. They responded and said, good to go. Looking ahead, compliance for 23-24. There could be some new health services that they're going to update that rule because it was last revised in 1996 to be more reflective of the things they're requiring us to do now around school operations and these kind of plans we have to put out. I think that was potential rule change. So these are two things that are being considered. A, bringing back essential skills graduation requirement. B, adding the requirements of Menstrual Dignity Act as a Division 22 requirement. And then specifically, I'd have to report on each October or November that we are in compliance with. That's all the information I have on Division 22. Anybody got any questions?
So with the asbestos, we have a plan on that, right? Are we, or if I have to speak for myself, am I able to see what that plan is?
Sure.
And then, okay, that's it, thank you.
Shoot Mr. Story an email. He keeps the notebook on our asbestos plan that had the report then, and he'd be the one that could get it to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Division 22? All right, moving on to options, course adoption.
Options, course adoption. You, Mr. Kruger? Yeah. Okay.
Go for it. Just one.
I have one new course that Education has got for us. There are a bunch of updates coming, but this course was brand new and it fills in gaps that currently don't offer that would be good career area kind of knowledge for kids as an elective. It's not necessarily, and we're offering it as an elective. But anyway, so this is a new curriculum that they've offered to us, and we want to just make it available to our kids.
Right.
There's a lot of demand for healthcare related classes.
Because there's a lot of demand for healthcare workers.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the curriculum proposal as presented. Sorry.
Oh, is it also good?
We have a motion second to approve the curriculum proposal from options program. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we have a first reading on, looks like a few policy updates.
Yep, and there'll be more to come in the months to come. We're starting to wade through these. Again, these is, first reading, so if you don't have any questions now, I just suggest you look over them. If any questions come up, email Ms. Smith or I in the coming weeks, and we'll have second readings next month.
All right. Personnel, it looks like we have retirement and a new hiring this year tonight. Congratulations, Dan. Don't seem too excited.
Not sure what you got in.
We do need to have board action on those two items.
Wow. French is gonna retire.
Only if we approve it.
Well, then, okay. Then we won't. I move that we approve the retirement and hiring Dan Putzman.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the retirement of Marion French and the hiring of Dan Putzman. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Quick question, is Mrs. French leaving November 1st or is she gonna finish the school year?
She has asked to finish the school year. We've approved she'll be here. I even asked her if she wanted to be brought back next year. She didn't think so.
All right, we do have a few, just for information, got a few new hires and some transfers into other positions. All right. Any delayed items or closing comments? Okay,
First of all, of course, I wanted to ask you for that curriculum for the health safety and ethics class. Would I be able to get a copy of that or see a copy of
It's actually, on our options website.
It's on whose website?
All of our classes, all of our school sequence are links. So I don't think I put that on the throat waiting for you to approve. I'll add it to that and I'll send you the link.
Okay, great. That's great. Website. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that, so we had a public comment tonight, and it's a couple times that I've heard this now. So I just want to find out at what point or when do we actually discuss? Because what I keep hearing, people saying things, but in public comment, it is for us to listen. That is their time. We say something and we listen. But I'm thinking that when we hear things over and over, at what point does the board actually address anything?
I was actually gonna piggyback on that and propose a work session, because I feel like these meetings don't really provide us a lot of like chit chat, bouncing ideas off of each other time, and it is something that we've heard a few times now, so I think a work session would give us the opportunity to kind of discuss.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what part of the comment. What part of the comment
Go ahead.
do you want a work session on?
Oh, so may I please?
Karen.
So what I've heard a couple of times is that there are parents out here, okay, which is our stakeholders, and they are not approving or liking certain books or certain things that are in the books, okay? And as a board, at what point, when do we address their concerns?
Well, I mean, this is your thing, but I'll jump in the
Okay.
process of a book. If someone wants to challenge the book, there's processes to go through. And the end of that process, that complaint process, ends up in front of the school board.
So we're
So you
back,
don't want to have discussions about it at the front end. If somebody, we want them to start with the teacher, start with the principal, go to the superintendent. If they don't like that, the superintendent's response, after they kind of work through that, then they file a complaint. And then that's where it leads its way to the school. You want to be careful about getting involved too early, because then it poisons the well, is what an attorney would tell you when you're making a decision about this later.
No, for the people that went to you, you told them there's nothing else they
Oh,
can do.
Please refrain from comments during the meeting,
I'm
please.
gonna ask you,
Well, point of order, there's what order, what point?
I would like for her to please be quiet for one moment.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, there's board policy on books and how someone can request to get rid of the book.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a question then, and am I able to address the audience?
Do whatever you want.
Oh, yes, right.
But you're
So-
addressing them as an individual, not as an entire board.
yes, okay. So I do have a question for you then. And there are other parents, I understand this, but have you taken it through the right process? Have you talked to the
So my
teachers?
child didn't have him as an English teacher. My child didn't have to read the books. There's multiple other kids and parents I've talked to. I actually read the book, and I'll be honest, I had a different feeling than a lot of the parents. I see where they had a problem with it. I think it's fresh and appropriate? No, there's some things in there that I think are really touchy subjects that need more in depth.
Okay,
But
so- Okay, right now. My question to you is, have you done the chain of command? And if it's not you, okay, no, let's start with you. Have you done the chain of command?
I personally have not.
Okay,
So
that's,
my
wait,
question,
one moment, okay. So that is one thing for you, is to abide by the chain of
I
command.
understand.
And you understand what the chain of
I
command is
understand.
now? Okay,
So-
and would you please also, when you're talking to people, right, and they have concerns and everything, would you please school them on the chain of command? Okay, and if there's problems in the community, we definitely want to hear about it. We want to address things and we want to clear things up.
But it has to be done the right way.
Yes.
My question, and this is just, and it might be a little off base, but since my child isn't directly in the class, would you still want me to go to the teacher and then the principal and then the superintendent? And the hard thing I'm just gonna say, for a lot of families, They don't have the time to take off work to go meet with everybody, and I'm not giving them an excuse. The parents should, if the parents have a problem, they should. But me, because my child is not in that class, would I still go to that teacher?
So I'm gonna talk personally again. I would think that you could, okay, because you are part of our community, but I'm gonna address it to the chair, and to the superintendent,
Thank you.
to see what the policy says.
On this particular issue, I would say that folks know the position of the teacher. We polled our students, had them do a survey on this book last year, which they overwhelmingly said it was a great book, we'd like you to continue to teach it. Teachers decided to teach it again, so we know what the teacher's perspective is, we know what my perspective is. If somebody wanted to use the board policy on banning a book, then that's the path I would turn them down. I don't know that if somebody came to me now and concerned about it, I'd say, well, let's go back and start with it. We've been through that. We kind of know, right? The district's committed to supporting the teacher, the students that want this book, providing options for students or families that aren't in favor of the book. So if somebody came to me, again, this unit's happening now, right? Oh, us, the students, do you know what this?
Yes, it is.
What is the book?
The hate
The
you
hate
give.
you. It is currently being taught, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this unit's happening right now, I don't know if a parent reached out to me and had concerns. If they had to talk to the teacher, I might, refer them to, just check in with the teacher, see what's going on.
The question is if it is not a parent of a student in that classroom, and it is a community member, and they have concerns, can they address their concerns through chain of command? That's the question.
Any parent in our district could go talk to any teacher.
So the answer is yes. Absolutely, you can talk to any teacher, and then there is that chain of command.
I believe though, Mr. Carter, you said because it's gone through everything and everyone's talked to everybody, that our point now would be just to file anything with the school board. Or did I misunderstand you?
No,
And I'm just verifying, I'm not,
we have policy on banning books, that's where I would refer people
there's a
to.
difference in banning books, getting age appropriate lessons, because the teacher
I'm just
did,
referring to the
in
board
email,
policy.
in writing, the teacher said this book was not appropriate to be read in its entirety out loud.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
black
know
and
that.
white writing from the teacher.
We got up and read the book in front of you guys.
Well, actually, I
thought it
have,
was a great book.
I read the book. It was an OBOB book. And, while I, as an adult person, I found the language a little bit rough. I also believe that our students need to see other perspectives, given that we're not very diverse.
So in regards to this book, I would say, if a parent came to me, it would depending on what their questions were, I might refer them to the teacher, or I might just refer them to the policy and say, here's, I'm using the term banned book, but I think it's like curriculum challenge is actually the name of the policy. That it tells them how to, and essentially, I wasn't a part of it, but I know early 2000s was the last time this happened, someone challenged a book or a curriculum. There's a committee that's got together, it includes students, it includes staff members. They review their concern, the book, is it age appropriate, what's best practice? And then they make some determination or recommendation to the school group.
I think the term we're kind of dancing around is age appropriate, right? So ODE states that you have to be 15 to read this book. All freshmen are not 15.
Oh, I don't
So I
know
think
ODEs.
that's part of the piece.
I don't know any, I've never heard ODE say you have to be a certain age to read any book, much less this book, so I'd be interested in that.
Certain
I know
folks
it's-
have a certain age restriction.
I don't know that.
As age 15.
I know that this was and again, I'm probably gonna use the wrong term, but it was like the #1 recommended high school age book in the year it came out in 2019 and 2018. I do know it's in every school in Lane County.
I guess as a parent, my thing is, if one book is bringing up this much controversy and there's billions of books out there, can we not pick one that's a little less controversial? Like, I
Well, I
agree,
see. That would
diversity
be a-
is 100% absolutely, but that's a lot of books that you can choose from. If it's this big of an issue, can we just like Move
I
on.
guess that would be a good question for the teacher. I asked him, I remember at the end of last year, how many parents did he hear from? And out of his 110, I want to say he'd only spoken to 1 or 2 and heard from 5 or 6. So I don't know what the determination is of the
All
big issue.
kids.
Um, The other thing I would say is in any book we look at, right? In Huck Finn, they use the N word 487 times. Never had any complaints about that. In Romeo and Juliet, where it's suicide, or in any book, there can be some realm of offensive things. And this one is just struck a chord, from my opinion, because of the racial component. That, interestingly enough, in my perspective, other folks may have issues with some of these other books. Why are we teaching Huck Finn in that language and having our African American kids sit in class and listen or hear that word over and over and over again? Well, it's about history, right? It's about learning how things were different perspectives, and that's what this book's about. But again, we're getting a little bit in the weeds. I'll collect some data from the teacher. You know, I know that I asked him to do a survey of students last year, and he did that. I remember him sending it to me. I don't remember the exact results. If a parent is interested in challenging the book, I'd refer them to the policy. They can go down that path.
Where do you find the policy?
Let's show folks where school board policies are.
Thank you.
www.fernridge. So this will be a good little block of instruction.
Whoops.
Here, on our district website, you go to district and then down to school board. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, the last link is district policies and administrative rules. And one thing, you know, there's a long list of things. They're kind of broken out by area, but the biggest cheat method is to go to that box in the upper right and let's type in the word curriculum. So if I was looking for the, yeah.
What did you mean?
Curriculum change process. Let's curriculum development. I think it might be, but let's scroll down a little. So this pulls up all of the policies that have the word curriculum in it. Let's pull up that AR right there. A teacher, student, lay person, or curriculum subcommittee may propose a curriculum change by following procedures outlined below, making curriculum change. Let's keep scrolling down. I don't think this might not be it. Down. No, keep going, keep going. Nope. Is that it? Okay, go back. That's not the policy. I don't believe. I'll find the exact one.
Jerry, IA-AR.
It's what?
IA-AR.
Okay, IA. Instructional materials. Okay, so this goes through how we select it, criteria for selection. Although things like this, it's really a supplemental material. It's not for ELA. Keep scrolling down. Challenge materials, procedure for objection. So that would probably be the best spot to look. I think it outlines it, talks about any resident can challenge and what that process looks like and what the district will be charged with doing if we got such a request.
IIR.
One more time.
Upper left-hand corner there says IA, you bet, and then the /AR means it's an administrative rule. So the policy is IIA, the AR is our administrative rule, the way we go about implementing that policy.
So, one thing is when you're talking to the teacher about that book, I understand that, parents went to him and talked to him. And I thought that it was beautiful that he said, we're going to read the book, but leave certain parts out. Okay, but then what happened is each child, each student got a book. So what he's leaving parts out, what he's leaving parts out for, the students are reading it.
What made you think that the teacher said we're leaving certain parts out?
You said that. You told me not.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Again, I don't, as far as I know, I assume we're teaching the whole book, reading the whole book. I haven't, spoken to Mr. Hart about this in 6, 8 months. I'll ask him some of those questions if you'd like.
I really would, so I just want to understand this, is that, so the teacher kept things out, okay?
I don't know that, but
I know this is the part I'll get to you, but with you, if they're gonna have a book, teach the whole thing. Is that what you just said?
what I said is, I don't know that he's leaving things out, and if we were leaving certain sections out, I'd wanna know why. There's certain books and curriculums that we go through where we don't teach everything cover to cover. So if that's the case, if that's happening, I'd really probably have to work through his building principal, but just outline why that is. Maybe he's doing it this year, didn't do it last year, he's doing it this year as a result of something that occurred last year. I'm not sure, but again, I'm just speculating, I don't know. So I will talk to him.
Well, at the risk of getting way too far down in the weeds, I do believe that if the book is not, if he's leaving portions of the book out, then I do feel like there is probably a more appropriate book that can be taught from cover to cover. But I'm not, you know, I read it, my daughter read it, and I don't feel like,
I know you don't want public involved in this, but this is going a long time. We have went through all the proper channels, including seeing Mr. Carpenter, so I feel like we're at that point where we can file the form, and then y'all can.
all right, that sounds
So we
perfect.
are going to do a work session.
Well, I think, yeah, I think we can do work sessions after we file the forms. We'll file it.
I think that's good. I mean,
I just want to know what the topic of the work session would be, for this only, or would there be other topics?
I just think public comment in general, like a few different things have been brought up, so at what point do we talk about what the public wants? Are there little things that we can go through and possibly change? The all students safe has been brought up a few times. Are there anything that we can go through in the buildings or in policies or anything and make little changes to make everyone safe? Everyone-
What?
The all students safe. And I'm granted, I'm new, and so I'm just trying to learn also, and talking to you guys is the best way that I do that. And just these once a month meetings, I don't really feel like I have the opportunity to like talk about a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff isn't the right term because we don't need 20 talking points, but there's the public comments at every meeting. And so I think, like Lisa said, at what point do we address the public comments?
I think you refer them, my perspective, you refer them through the appropriate channels. If they're not happy with the result, they file a complaint, then it comes to you. That'd be my perspective.
And if this is not okay to ask here, please just let me know.
Anything's okay to ask.
Everything's okay to ask?
Yeah, I might not answer.
Oh, okay, I'll do that. So, language, there is language about chain of command, okay? And,
We're starting at the lowest level.
right,
Those attorneys.
right, and it's very
If
clear.
somebody has a kid has a problem with an instructional assistant, we don't want the kid coming to meet with Mr. Carpenter.
Right.
We want to start with the instructional assistant.
Right, and that's chain of command.
Yeah.
So the thing is there language in our district for staff? So I'm the kind of person where if somebody has a problem about anything, it's like, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. And it's not that you're bad, I'm bad, you're bad. It's that there's an issue and that it needs to be dealt with, okay? So does the staff, are they aware of chain of command? And do they also give that to the parents? Do they give it to the parents? So thank you for coming today. We're going to sit down and talk, I just want to let you know that we actually have a chain of command and we're starting here. If you're not happy about it, if you're not like, yeah, right on, right? Then the next spot is here. If you're not happy with that, the next spot is here. And to have that language out there so our community knows about it. The community that I have talked to, they don't know about the chain of command. And so I think that's something really, really important. I do have a list of things for workshop. So I think that's one of the things that we've thought about too.
On that, is there a staff chain of command, just building admin?
Well, like, I mean, for concerns with staff members, like the
Yeah.
staff member have concern?
Previous staff members I worked with in the past, talk to me about what their chain of command is, like, who do they go talk to?
Yeah, I mean, each building has building reps. Those building reps meet with, I charge every building principal to meet with their building rep once a month. So, for example, even at the district officer, well, I don't have certified group, I have classified. The first Tuesday of every month, I meet with the classified rep. Hey, do you hear about any issues going on? No, things are great, or yeah, there's this one problem, what do you think about this? We talk about it. That happens at every building, every month of the school year, all year long. Mr. Cooper and Mrs. Snyder might be able to describe how they advise their folks when there's concerns or problems to help work through, but I feel like, you know, our district has strengths and weaknesses. I would consider this element of strength. We hear from folks in our buildings, certified and classified, when there's a problem, and we address it before there's ever any significant problem. We get it solved or addressed or acknowledge that, oh, hey, Mr. Carpenter's doing something wrong here. We need to alter this, or well, the employee needs to not do this anymore. This is how we need to approach this. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I think we follow chain of command too, just because, like, for example, if we get a complaint, sometimes we get a staff complaint about another staff. They feel like their principal's not doing something or whatever, and they come to us, and that's my role actually right now in our association. And so we will go back first, we'll have you talk to the staff member, you know, have you talk to your building rep, or if it comes from the building rep, okay, have you met with the principal? We, you know, there may be if it's something we think is going to rise, we may keep Mr. Carpenter informed, but actually, we usually try to work with the administrators first. Also, it's just a common, I don't know how, it's a common practice, common courtesy kind of way.
It's also a courtesy because if it can be resolved at,
Right.
you know, at the lowest level, then that doesn't take up the time of people that don't need to be bothered with it.
Yeah.
But I can also see where, you know, there are certain things that might have to be.
And there are policies about staff complaints, also in the policy.
Yeah.
So, may I? Have you ever said to anybody in the public, have you ever told them yourself when they have a complaint that this is the chain of command? I want you to be able to know how our district operates.
Well, I've been here for a long time, and I'm
Yes.
sure I probably have, but I just can't name a person. I'm sorry.
But I probably have as an answer.
Well, I think most teachers, if a parent comes to share a concern and they don't like the teacher's response, then as a teacher in the district, that's what I would say. Hey, I understand you might not like what I'm saying here. You know, the principal so-and-so, feel free to go talk to the principal. So, you know, I don't know if that's confusing to folks, but certainly anybody that reaches out to me, I talk to. I would assume anybody that reaches out to our staff members.
And then you refer them to the board as a complaint procedure if they're not happy. Or even if they are happy, do you let them know that there's that extra step?
Say that again now. If someone comes to me with a concern,
So they've already been through the chain.
Yeah.
And they come to you, they're at your point now. Do you say to them, you know, well, if we don't work this out here, you're welcome to file a complaint.
I don't know if I've done that 100% of the time, but certainly they've known my perspective and, you know, again, could I swear that I've always said, if you don't like what I'm saying here, here's your option. I don't know that, but we try to put our complaint process in a visible spot. It's on the front page of our website, really bold complaint procedure. And, you know, if I was a parent and I had a concern for, you know, my kids going to school, it would be a pretty common question. I think I would ask, how can I file complaints? I don't know. I've never heard from anyone to say that, I didn't know I could file a complaint or something. So that's not something I've ever heard.
when you had mentioned that even if they are satisfied to bring it up, yeah. It seems like that might actually be a good case in some points, because if you really go to it at the lowest level, you're addressing one teacher, one class, 1 year. And if you have a community issue, it's not just for your child, it's for the entire community, and there's other concerns, you should probably, could be beneficial, would be beneficial to take it higher so that it is actually goes beyond that classroom, that teacher, that year, to make it broader so that it's actually implemented across the board.
Absolutely. But it still has to start at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm still not sure, do we want to try to set up a work session for for sometime in the future, or before the next board meeting, or?
I feel like 2 of us do.
It's great, I just
Yeah.
need to know what we're gonna discuss.
Yeah.
What is the topic? Whatever it is that we're talking about.
She was just saying that if you have topics for a work session, that we would just want to go through Michelle so that we're not conversing between us outside of a meeting. Yeah. So just, is that? So send your topics if you have a topics for a work session. We'll try to figure out a date.
Carrie, will you post that on your Square like you have in the past?
We have one, yeah.
So just send the topics that you have to Michelle. And do we want to try to figure out a date tonight for a meeting, or you want? I think that might be the best way to do it. Is that all right? It's up to you folks.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So our next board meeting is the 20th. No, I don't. We want to wait to see how many topics there are, to see maybe how long it's going to take. It's before we do it on the night before. If it doesn't seem like it's going to take more than an hour, we can do it an hour before our next board meeting.
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
That's a good idea. I do have a question. There's somebody in the audience, I think it was Jay, and you think that you will be putting a point in school board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then will you be doing that sooner or later?
Yes, ma'am.
So why sooner? Sooner. Okay.
but we would probably handle the complaint during a regular meeting,
During regular meeting?
most
Yeah.
likely, not
Okay,
during a
so
work
then-
session.
Yeah, that would be a work session.
Yeah.
Okay.
So work session usually are topics that we just want to discuss more in depth than we do at a board meeting.
Okay, and then we can all put in our request to Michelle.
If you have topics that you, for a work session, put them in, and then we'll see how many there are, and we can just say that we're gonna go an hour before the next meeting. If we don't cover all those, maybe we need to do another work session.
And we can always table it.
Well, we
So,
can do another work session, yeah.
Just my job that actually earns me money, is very busy this time of year. And the OSBA conference is also coming up. And so I'm not positive that I can fit a work session in before.
The board meeting on the 20th,
I could fit it in before.
right?
On the 20th.
And I think that's what we're planning on doing.
Okay.
Oh, that day?
So like 5:30,
At 5:30, we'll meet at 5:30 until 6:30 for a work session. If we don't cover everything, then we can schedule another work session.
So we'll have it on the agenda. Okay.
No, it won't be on,
It'll be a work separate
there'll be a
meeting
separate
for
meeting
1 hour
for
before.
1 hour before.
But we will have.
You'll have a separate agenda.
Right, that's, okay. All right.
Is 5:30 work for you too? Okay.
So 5:30.
Yeah. And then just and then Michelle can just send all the topics out to us ahead of time or with an agenda. And
You'll probably want to come up with some method for, are we just putting anything that's recommended is on the agenda regardless of the topic, or how do you want to decide that?
I mean, I would hope that if it's something that you could answer, that we don't, I mean, I don't know, just depends on what the topics are, I guess. I mean,
Well, leave it up to you.
yeah. I don't know, because I don't know what the topics are, but we can, somehow
Yeah, and
prioritize
just,
this.
I'll reach out to OSBA on this topic, maybe after we see what the items are, but you'll just want to be careful and not have discussions on items that are specific enough that you might then be decision makers on down the road for some complaint or. I'll try to get some guidance on that. After we get a list of topics.
Pardon me, is Gary part of the work session?
Yes,
Yes.
anyone can come. It's public. It's a meeting in public.
So
There's no public comment during the meeting. But there's generally no public comment during the work session.
Really, no public comment.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fine.
We had that work session before.
Is it held here in the same place?
Correct. It'll be advertised. It'll be advertised because it is a meeting held in public, so it'll be just like it's any other public meeting laws. It'll be advertised a week ahead of time.
These 4 days ahead of time, put it out on social media.
All right. Just moving on, just a lot of the current events or things happening the next couple months have been mentioned. The volleyball game, Spirit Week, cross country invite at Stewart Park on the 18th. We talked about conferences, the football game Friday night, and the first quarter is November 2nd. November 3rd, there's a no school teacher work day, and November 10th, there's no school for Veterans Day. Looks like there's a Elmira PTA meeting. Well, I know there's one tomorrow night.
Wednesday night in the library at 7:00.
October 7th, Elmira Elementary. Elmira Elementary is the 17th. And then Spirit Day for Elmira Elementary, the 25th. The Harvest Carnival is the 31st, which is a great event. Then the same thing as far as the end of the first quarter, and then Bonita Title I Literacy Night is the 26th, and there's a parade and Powell's Trunk or Treat on the 31st. All right, and hearing no objection, we will adjourn.